Oh, good. I was gonna say, if it disappeared and I had to go dig it up in the menu, but... Two sides to us all. It's hard to tell with some people, huh? Whether they're good or bad. What's all this all of a sudden? It's just... The whole story Anyhow told about Bernard, it got me thinking. Yeah, it got me thinking too, but I think we're thinking about different things. He may have done a good deed for once upon a time, but that does not change the fact that he sought to harness the crystal's power for his own ends. Yeah, and I can see how what happened to him made him obsessed with money. But that obsession wound up getting people killed, not least among them King Orion. But you're right, it's tricky to say whether someone's really good or bad. People aren't that simple. Bernard did right by Anyhow, but his greed also led him to do bad things. There's two sides to all of us, even him. All we can do is work hard and try to be the best version of ourselves we can be. Whoa, you're being very uncharacteristically wise today. Oh, that's not one of mine. That was a Lady Emma classic, word for word. Huh, should have known. Something about the whole Bernard thing made me think of it, so I thought I'd try it on for size. My admiration for your mentor grows by the day, Elvis. I sometimes forget you studied under someone so famous. Don't blame you, I sometimes forget he studied at all. Again, we are that last Anyhow side quest scene was supposed to make us like Bernard more, and I think it utterly failed at that. Because let's also not forget that after saving Anyhow, regardless of the other stuff he was doing on the side, he basically pressed her into involuntary, indefinite indentured servitude, and continued to treat her like garbage. So, like, I'm not even convinced. Well, obviously, this is a piece of fiction, and I'm sure that's where the authors were trying to go with it. But as a character, I am not even convinced that Bernard, when he saved Anyhow, actually cared. And rather than just wanting, like, basically free work because you owe me and that sort of thing. All right. On to greener pastures in some literal senses, because we're gonna finally leave the desert and go back to the woods. I'm gonna try and get to the woods as fast as possible. I do not care about fighting random encounters right now because obviously I have a second save file which has actual progress on it, which had a recording lost, which when I go back to doing hopefully soon, I will have those levels of experience and I won't have to gain them here. But there are, I do want to run through the woods, because this is where I would have gone next. And there were some story events. I believe there were a couple other party chats. As you know, I would like to see as many of the party chats as possible, because I've been making jokes about Bravely Default 2, the visual novel, and I would indeed like to compile them once I finish the Let's Play at the end, and I would like to see those among other things.
You mentioned heading north to the forest, but there didn't even used to be a forest here. You think this is a place?
It wouldn't surprise me if it was. You saw the town. It seems like new trees have been popping up all over.
Aye, I suppose you're right. But we saw what the crystals are capable of over in Savalon, and it's plenty.
Exactly. Which is why I must recover them without delay, before anyone else has to suffer.
I know how you feel, Gloria, but you shouldn't put so much pressure on yourself.
What do you mean?
She means that it's possible to be too focused in something and fail to see the, wood for the trees, as it were. Sometimes you need to calm down and take a step back.
But I... Perhaps you are right. I shall try to bear your words in mind. You two always know what the other is thinking, don't you? You must be very close. If you don't mind me asking, are you...
Hold it right there. The answer is no. 1,000 times no.
Come on now. No need to blush. There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Not for you, maybe. I've had enough of this nonsense. Let's get moving.
Oh dear. Did I speak out of turn?
I don't think you did anything wrong, Gloria.
Eh? What are you looking at me for?
Never mind. How about we just forget about it and move on?
The weird thing about this dynamic is that if the game didn't say anything, I probably wouldn't think anything of what's her face, Adele and Elvis, like, at all. Like, if you were to put me in my Okay, just in case I do get into fights that I don't want to get into, it would really help if I had someone as Black Mage, because there's going to be a lot of enemies in here, there are going to be a lot of enemies on the same battlefield, and there are going to be a lot of plant enemies. And I would like to have Elvis as just the Black Mage, because he's a level 12 Black Mage. As I was saying, if the game didn't constantly bring attention to it, I probably wouldn't think of anything as... like Elvis and Adele getting together and whatever. Like, if you put me and my sister in the same space for any extended amount of time, we're gonna be, like, constantly going after each other like that as well. That's just, like, a normal, semi-normal way for friends or people who are like friends to interact. And I give it 3 chapters at most before they're officially together. Alright. What am I looking for? Equipment on Elvis. Elvis is... keep... left bumper, left trigger, same thing. Can I, optimize this? Can I give him a second staff? I really like it when Elvis has 2 staves. Magic attack 31, magic attack 21, magic attack 47, 53. Okay, let's give him that one. He is overloaded now, right? Yeah, he is actually overloaded a lot. Let me unequip that. Unequip that. What's his weight level now? Attributes. Elvis is, where's the weight? 20 out of 24. Okay, so I can have a little bit more carry weight. But he should be doing a lot of damage to grass-like enemies, or other enemies that are weak to any one of the main elements. From this. All right.
Further if I were you.
And why is that?
The lassie who lives down that way doesn't take kindly to visitors. She fancies herself as a bit of an archer. And she won't let anyone down there, no matter who they are. Says it's off limits to everyone except her and her wee girl.
Really? Doesn't sound like Lily.
Her archery is not up to much?
Well, as far as I know, she's never even laid eyes on a bow.
You think an asterisk might be involved?
Could be, yeah.
Might I ask what brings you to this part of the forest if it's as dangerous as you say?
Me? Oh, I'm here collecting bark from the trees.
Bark?
Aye, that's right. It's bright yellow on the inside, see? I've a customer who uses it to make paint. I've been asked to gather a ton of the stuff, but with this many trees to strip, that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, I'll best be getting back to work.
I never knew you could use bark to make paints. Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, paint's a new one on me too. But they use it to dye clothes, so I guess it makes sense.
Dyeing clothes and all? Crikey! Whatever will they think of next?
They really don't teach much but magic at that institute of yours, huh?
Well, there may be a somewhat heavy focus on theoretical thaumaturgics, aye. Good job you're here to fill in the gaps, eh? And what's the point of an adventure if you don't learn a thing or two along the way?
Huh. I almost believe you actually think that.
Ho-ho! You sound dangerously close to being impressed.
Yeah. Impressed by your stupidity.
Alright. Can I use, like... money? Can I use my sword thing on trees? And get, like, bark and paint and whatever? I don't know, whatever. Alright, let's see, there's a party chat. Alright, more party chats. I like party chats. I like reading. I've come to like the visual novel sort of Let's Play. It's rather fun. Didn't think I would have said that when I first started doing Let's Plays 11 years ago, but here we are. Aye, there's no doubt about that. Something very strange is afoot around here. I suppose it must be the crystals doing. You know what though, Elvis? I actually think Wiswald is nicer like this. All the greenery, all these earthly aromas, it's really calming. It'd make for a beautiful painting, don't you think? You're a wee bit chirpier than usual today. What's gotten into you? Oh, nothing really. I just like being surrounded by nature, that's all. Is that where you grew up? Someplace out in the middle of nature? Yeah. I guess you could say that. How did you know? Well, I grew up by the sea. The sounds of the waves and the smell of the oceans always make me feel better. I just figured maybe it was something similar with you. So your home is somewhere similarly wild, Adele. Not wild exactly, but sort of... Alright, I have not played to the point in the game where I know where that is. So that is still a mystery to me, and I look forward to finding out. Because, as I've said, ad infinitum, I do like the nature-y sections of video games. Alright, up here there's a treasure chest. And it's a mimic. Yeah, it's a tactical retreat. I fled that one. I'm not gonna see what's in there. At this point, there's not really that much left for me to re-record, so hopefully this won't take too long. I just kind of want to see maybe where the treasure chests are, and at least get like part of the layout of this dungeon on video. Small spoiler, I guess not really, because there's no way of actually showing this. I died several times in here in my first run through. I'm going to hopefully spend less time in fights and hopefully spend less time consequentially dying in this run. But all the same, since I don't really care if I waste them at this point, let me just blow a bunch of these ethers. And heal everybody's magic. Just so that if I absolutely have to, also Elvis is silenced. I could have sworn I gave you a freeze immunity. Who cares about freeze, honestly? I gave you evasion, aggro, fire. Where is silence? Force armlets? That's restorative powers. Clothespin? Sleep immunity. White veil of silence. Okay, so that's what I want you to have. And I've still got to remove the effect itself. Alright, echo herbs. Yeah, the white veil or whatever it was must have been unequipped when I optimized my equipment or whatever, and now I have to get out of here without running into any of you. Perfect. Hopefully there's enough space that I can do that if I want to. Anyway, so anything else of note in here? I don't think there is any more cutscene up to the boss or any more, what is it? Any more party chat up to the boss, that I would want to show. As I was saying, I do like the visual novel sort of games to do as a Let's Play, which is something I did not expect when I first started doing those a long, long time ago. But there's just something about, like, reading lines and, adding your own, like, intonations to each of the lines that aren't explicitly there in the text to make it feel like the characters are actually doing and saying things that the characters in these situations would. There are no where are all the treasure chests in here? I swear to God. Like when Elvis makes Adele feel awkward, and there's all kinds of there are many ways that you can interpret awkward pauses in just a single set of ellipses, and I do enjoy doing that. Is this gonna loop back around? No, but that's a thing. I'm gonna hopefully have to fight a mimic. Okay, sure. That is more or less, that's a job point, that is more or less what I had in mind when I was saying, roasting things with fire. Because all Elvis did, all that happened in that battle was I was fighting 4 of those pitcher plant fungus things. And, here's a shortcut back to the beginning. Wonderful. I was fighting 4 of those pitcher plant fungus things, and all that happened was Elvis used, Firaga 4 times, and, like, unexisted all of them, and it was great. Alright, so I got attacked from the back. By the way, those orc enemies, if I were to mess around with, Elvis and the Beastmaster, and anyone in the Beastmaster for that matter, capturing the orc captains and the orc enemies, would be, a lot of help in battle. Because they have some really nice effects. And also some of the other enemies in here, I think, by the way, too. I don't remember exactly what all of them do, but I do remember that the orcs do an enormous amount of damage each time they are summoned. Anyway, where am I going? Oh, there is another party chat. Okay, cool. Good thing that I kept walking and didn't just end the recording. Not quitters. Nature is none too sentimental, eh? It doesn't care about history or what anyone thinks or feels, just tears through a whole town without so much as a buy or leave. Yeah, to see one's country altered beyond all recognition is hard. I'm sorry. I know it's nothing compared to what happened to Musa. I suppose I should count myself lucky. Please, Elvis, there is no need to apologize. I'm glad there is still some hope for Wiswold. Thanks. And you know what? I think you're right. There's plenty of hope for the old place yet. Oh, yes? Us Wiswolders, we're not quitters. We're not going to throw in the towel just because there's a few extra trees about the place. I am very glad to hear it. As long as hope remains, people can always rise again. That they can. And as long as we keep on hoping, we can help you do what you set out to do as well. You're not giving up either, right? That's how come you're still standing around, standing here today. Precisely. I haven't given up yet, and I never will. Alright. Bravely Default 2, the visual novel. I wonder, and I haven't looked through, I haven't read through, watched through all the party chats and sequence yet. I've cut some of them out, and, basically highlighted them as they come up in the recording as I edit these videos, but I haven't watched them, like, one after the other yet. I wonder how much of the main story you will be able to get and understand just by, looking at those. Just by, watching those, reading those, whatever you would do in this kind of game here. The definition of, like, games and visual novels and walking sims and that sort of thing gets a little bit weird. The same goes for the cutscenes, for that matter. I've also been clipping out each and every one of the cutscenes that I find, in a sort of come on, as a sort of a Bravely Default to the movie sort of thing, and I'm very curious about how much of the plot you'll be able to derive about the story, how much you'll be able to derive about the story's plot. I got those words in the correct order in some way, I'm sure. Just by watching that. And there's going to be a ton of cutscene, I should add, by the end of this game. I don't know exactly how much of the game I have completed editing, but I'm guessing there's going to be at least like a good 12 to 15 hours worth of cutscene. I would not be at all surprised if the amount of cutscene just ramps up even further towards the end. Anyway, Rune Staff. 4 by Ether, and it looks like we're coming up to the end of the dungeon, so I think I'm going to, get into yet another fight. I think I'm going to stop talking here. I said... sneaking around you. I said initially that, I lost about 3 hours of recording, and I was hoping that I would be able to recover the lost ground and say something like maybe 2 hours or less, and indeed I've been going for about an hour and a half today, and it looks like I've succeeded in doing that. So, this is the save point. This is where the story takes over, and back to me in somewhat the present.
Hold it right there.
Thank God.
Your step and I'll shoot.
There's going to be a little bit of me running around in the forest before the boss when I cut back to the present, but not too much, I don't think.